Hi, my name is Michael Nigro. I'm a multimedia journalist. I have covered stories in New York, across America, and around the world, including the border crisis in Mexico, the Yellow Vest movement in France, presidential elections, Standing Rock, Charlottesville, and last year, the ongoing protests in Hong Kong, to name a few. In New York City, as a working journalist, at the hands of the NYPD, I have been arrested, detained, have had my gear confiscated, press badge taken away, pepper sprayed, hit with batons and riot shields, and suffered various injuries. I'm a part of a growing coalition of photojournalists, reporters, writers, filmmakers, lawyers, professors, and political allies, attempting to transform the relationship between the NYPD and the working press. And I want to thank you all for coming, specifically the press and the media outlets that are here, because this press conference is about you. It's about us. This is about the constitutional rights of the press. On the surface, in general terms, the three interconnected issues and actions we're going to talk about today, they seem quite basic. But I want to acknowledge that when you telescope in on these issues, it is complex. There are nuanced opinions and different ideas on how we will transform the NYPD's relationship with the working press. To make change, it is going to take work and time, respectful communication, and rational compromise. But what is overwhelmingly agreed on by the majority of the people that I have talked with since starting this about 2 months ago is that the relationship we have now with the NYPD is untenable and needs to radically change. These are the three interconnected issues and actions. Number one, the NYPD's proposed amendments to the rules for suspension and revocation of press credentials, of which there is a public hearing tomorrow, and I encourage everyone to familiarize yourself with those amendments, and whether or not you are on the side utterly of this coalition or not, make a comment. That's what that forum is for, to go on the record and have your voice heard there. There's a bit of backstory on those amendments. NYPD was required to craft these amendments after a valiant and hard-fought lawsuit to change this very system. That win was and is a step in the right direction, to be sure. But the NYPD's response is not good enough. The attorney Norman Siegel will discuss our contention with those proposed amendments shortly. Number two, consider this the official announcement that we are developing and will launch an exploratory committee whose sole purpose will be to transfer the issuing of press credentials from the NYPD's purview to another entity. The NYPD press badge in certain situations, not all, but certain situations, is not so much a badge as it is a bullseye, a means for the NYPD to control and censor the press. Look at how the press were treated by the NYPD during the George Floyd protests and the curfew. Some were shoved with batons. A gun was drawn on one of them. Another knocked out cold. Camera gear allegedly confiscated and not yet returned. If an NYPD press credential means you must stand away from a story and kowtow to questionable edicts from people in power, or you need to play a quid pro quo game with the NYPD in order to report on a story, then that is not a functioning free press. It is functioning as a mouthpiece for the very entity who's determining what part of the story we can cover. Number three, we formally asked Mayor Bill de Blasio and the City Council to pass a binding resolution on the NYPD, a resolution to protect all members of the press and current press card holders. This resolution includes, but is not limited to, using physical force against a journalist, threatening journalists with arrest or detention or taking any journalist into custody or seizing their equipment, threatening or harassing or intimidating a journalist, deploying indiscriminate munitions, kettling or killboxing crowds that are likely to include journalists, ordering or forcing journalists to disperse or to stop recording or observing a protest. Again, the hearing on the proposed press credentials is tomorrow. That is where you can make your voices heard, or you can log on and you can write them down as well. Again, thank you for coming. I'm going to bring up the attorney Norman Siegel to talk about the amendments and issues with the press credentialing process. Thank you.